Good morning, ladies, and maybe gentlemen. I don't know. Probably not, but it's possible. Um, yeah, here we are, Tuesday, um, getting close to the end of the month, um, marching towards spring slowly, it seems. But yeah, I mean, we're getting there. So, it's supposed to be some warmer weather um, later in later in the week, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Um, But yeah, how'd you like snow? I didn't even realize. I think yesterday during class it was snowing, because after I was looking outside and surprised to see some snow coming down. So that I did not expect that. And then everything was very slushy and not great. So I didn't realize. I guess I didn't really think about it. So we put a deck in last. Well, I guess it was fall probably by the time we got it done, and I didn't realize how icy it would get. It's right outside the back door, so going outside with the dog or going outside to see the chickens or really do any of the things that you're doing in the backyard, um, kind of an adventure. So yeah, trying to figure out how to keep that clear without using a lot of salt and things is going to be an adventure. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, so it's funny how you change something and you realize it changes everything, right? Uh, doing one thing can have a lot of ripple effects that you haven't really thought about, right? Because obviously, when you're doing things, um, different times of year, you can't see the whole of it, right? And it's true with a lot of the things that we do. We can't see the end result um, of what we're doing and what all the implications are going to be. Um, but right, that's not a reason not to do something. That's not an excuse to just stay put. Um, it's just to be aware that um, we don't really understand the scope of the consequences of things in our life and actions that we have for good and for bad, right? It's not even about whether um, you know right, because again that could be kind of subjective, right? What seems bad now could be um, could actually be good. And what is better, right? um, is it better to have a deck and deal with the ice, or would it be better to never have had that problem at all? I mean, it's very subjective. Um, and that's how it is with a lot of things in life, right? I mean, we may do things that we think make our life easier, and then they actually make it harder in certain ways. But other ways, it may be easier. So um, we're got to keep working from this um, aspect of improving, right? Making things better for us and for the people around us. Let that be your guide, right? Not so much, you know, I think that in the end, this will happen. It's I have a problem or I see something that needs to be done now, and I'm going to do it. Um, and if there's a problem from that, then I will make a good choice to solve that as well. And we just go along like dominoes, right? Knock each one down, and but then there'll probably be another soon after. That is the nature of of our life here. I remember um, my mom passed away when I was in my early 20s. So, and we had kind of a difficult relationship. So I wouldn't say that. I think I was still in that phase where the parents don't know anything, right? In the 20s, you're like, I know everything, right? So I can't say I got a lot of words of wisdom from her. But the one thing that my father and my dad was a different sort of guy. Like he had his own way of doing things, and he wasn't super helpful when it came to suggestions or ideas. But one thing that he did tell me that has always stuck with me, and I thought in retrospect is a very yogic thing to think, which is kind of weird for he wasn't a guy that you would think would have those sort of beliefs. But he said that um, life is always a struggle, right? It's always a struggle between what you want, what other people want, um, the resources you have, um, the abilities that you have at any given time, and that's okay, right? That there, and I think he said this in the context of me being very frustrated because I had a house full of kids and my husband, and everybody was going different directions, and nobody was getting along, and everything was all up in the air. And my dad said, what do you expect? This is what it is. To expect your life to be nothing but peace and tranquility and smooth sailing is to be very deeply disappointed. That's not the nature of things. We are often in conflict with other people and other things, and our goals may, not mesh with those of the people around us. Does it mean there has to be hostility and anger and fighting? No, it doesn't mean that. Um, Conflict does not have to be a negative thing. Conflict is just um, different things, different ways of doing things, different ideas coming together. Um, we are constantly coming together with other people, and many of who don't share our belief or our way of doing things. Um, that is not uncommon, um, and it's okay, right? One thing that is very important, we talk about a lot in yoga, is this idea of, you really are only responsible for yourself, for your beliefs, for your behaviors, for your um, dharma, right? You're following your path. The people around you may not agree. They may not share your beliefs. They may not be on the same path as you. They may have different goals, different ideas of what their life should be. This is fine, right? We don't need to change anyone. We don't need to make other people do anything. Um, Not everyone has to agree. We can be doing different things, and it's fine, right? But we want to do this in a harmonious way. We want to be at peace with our behaviors, just as other people hopefully will be at peace with their behaviors and not feel the need to try to change you, right? That's the most useless thing on earth, is trying to change someone else. Um, it doesn't work. It never works. Um, you you might try to influence other people, and they may try to pretend that they're going to change, but it doesn't really happen. Right? Change is something that comes from within, um, and it's very it has to happen on its own. Um, you could be inspired to change. You might, be an example to someone. Um, you might see someone else and have them be an example to you. But again, that deep change isn't going to come until you're ready for it. Um, so to think we can influence other people, and encourage them, or try to give them a shove in a certain way, it's probably not going to work. Um, it doesn't mean that we can't. Again, so encourage is a different idea. Encouraging people in certain directions is good. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But, and I know you've experienced this. I've experienced this as well. People who say they want to do something and start to do something, but then they stop. They give up. They change their mind. They do something else. Let that not be a source of frustration to you, right? Um, Again, if we don't feel responsible for the behaviors of other people, then we can't be angry when they give up or change their mind or go off to do something else, right? Um, that's is very common, right? People may start on a path where they are ready to change and then they give up, right? It's okay, right? It's again, it's not your responsibility. And you may have this happen to you where you have decided, I'm really resolved on this path to change this thing about me or to do this thing in my life. And then you give up. Um, you're allowed to feel some frustration for yourself when that happens. I mean, that that's okay. But again, it may happen. So what do you do, right? Well, you take a look. Is it really what you want to do? Or are you saying one thing, doing something else? Maybe. Um, if it is, if you really do feel, but you just are having trouble, then get right back to it. There's no, another thing I love about yoga is there isn't any, there's no expiration date, right? It's not, do it now or you'll never do it. You never have an opportunity. You are always ready to start that path. And if you get off the path, you can get right back on. The path is always there. The path has been there for thousands of years, and it will be there for thousands of years after we are all gone. Um, you can always get back on the path. Um, so be um, be aware, right? It's not going to be easy. Nothing is easy. It's not going to go straight. You're going to go all over the place. You'll be off the path, back on the path, around, up and down. Don't feel like that's unusual. That is very usual. That's how everybody's is with this. Um, you work at your own pace in all things. Um, don't feel obliged to work on anyone's timetable but your own. Um, that is how we make real change. We're not doing it to look a certain way or to give a certain impression to other people. We are doing what we need to do that comes from within. Right? We are listening to that voice and we are moving along with it. Okay, so let's do some asana. Um, I want to tell you a joke though before I go. This is one of my favorite jokes, and it's a dumb joke, but um, when we were talking about change, that made me think of it. So now give me a moment while I make sure that I have this joke in my head. Oh, okay. So, okay, a guy, I don't know, okay, Zen Buddhist. So Zen Buddhism is similar to yoga, but we could actually say a yogi. So we're going to say a yogi. This doesn't seem right though, because the yogi is going to a hot dog stand, and that wouldn't be correct, right? Uh, so how about yogis going to a vegetarian hot dog stand? Um, I think IKEA sells vegetarian hot dogs. So let's say they're going up to a vegetarian hot dog stand. And he says to the guy, Make me one with everything, right? That's the joke. And then the second part of the joke is he gives him a $20 bill to pay for it. And the guy just takes the money and the guy says, well, where's my change? And the hot dog vendor says, well, change comes from within. So there you go. Two yoga jokes for you. Two kind of strange yoga jokes, but they've stuck with me over the years. All right, so let's move a little. Sitting up tall. Let's drop the head and just stay here, relaxing the shoulders. Rest the arms on the legs. And then lifting up, keep lifting the chin. Back to center. And then lowering. To one side and then lowering to the other side. Back to center. Walk the hands out in front. Back up and then squeezing the shoulder blades together, gaze up. Back up to your seat, arms wide. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift the hands. We're gazing up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Once more, lifting up. Right hand down by your side, reach across with the left. Switch. And then lifting the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind you, sit up tall, deep breath, twist. Switch sides. And back to center. Tabletop. And let's sit back on the heels. Moving back up. Couple sets of cat-cow. Just moving through the spine a little bit. And then flip the toes and coming up to downward dog. And stepping up. So we're here in a fold. Rising up. Standing tall. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back with the right. Arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Moving back to downward dog. Forward to high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lifting head and chest. And lower. One more. And lower down. Moving back up. Take one more breath and step right foot up. Drop the left knee. Arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Stepping up with the back foot and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lift. Arms high. Back to mountain. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift. And fold on the exhale. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot comes back. Arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Back to downward dog. High plank. And lower. Inhale, lift. Lower. Lift. Lower. Last one. And lower. Moving back up. One more breath. Then left foot steps up. Arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Step up with the back foot and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lifting arms. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Let's step out to the side. Hands at the waist. Take a deep breath and lean forward. Hands back. Rising up. And then we're going to turn to face the front. One foot out, one foot behind. Interlace the fingers. Shoulders back. Take a deep breath. And fold. Come on up about halfway. Let's shift the weight into that right foot and lift that back leg up. Don't think about it too much. Just try. See how it goes. And breathe. Then set your foot back down. Back foot steps to the front, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Stepping to the side. Deep breath again. Fold. You can do whatever you want with the hands. You can bring them down, walk them in between the legs. Whatever feels right today. Hands back to the waist, rising up. If you feel at all lightheaded, just bring hands over your head. And then turning front again this time. Left leg is out, right leg behind. Squeeze back the shoulders and fold. Coming up, halfway here, shift. So the weight is in the left side, and then we can lift up that back leg. And just working within your range of balance today. Breathe. And then setting the foot back down. Back foot meets the front, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in. Breath out. And let's come on down to a seat. Soles of the feet together. Take a deep breath. Lean forward. So this pose, Superbada Kanasana, which is bound angle forward fold. Okay. Also known as butterfly pose, is one of, I hesitate to say my favorites, because I try not to play favorites with the poses, but it's one that I have, I think, in almost every class that I teach. No matter how abbreviated or elongated the practice might be, I always try to fit this in. I think it's a very, I think it's a very useful pose. It certainly works on, these hip flexors, which is something we're always working on in yoga. But it has a lot of aspects that are kind of universal. So this idea of a flat back, hinging from the hips, right? Every fold, we try to do that. But I feel like in this pose, we can really focus on that because there's not a lot else going on, right? So butterfly, if you are up here, which many people are, this is, it looks sort of like a butterfly, especially if you have a little give and you might move the legs. So I've seen people do this pose very, ferociously, flapping these knees. Don't do that. But if you have a little give and you want to kind of gently move the wings, that is fine, right? And then wherever you are, folding forward. So I think it's a good idea to, when we think of this, so butterfly, right? When we're talking about change and how everything changing affects everything else, that idea of a butterfly wings, right? A butterfly flaps its wings in China, and there's a tornado in Nebraska, right? So the idea is that we're all linked, right? And that a butterfly didn't flap its wings to cause something else to happen, but yet something else did happen. So the butterfly shouldn't stop flapping its wings, right? We shouldn't stop living our life and doing the things that we do, but be aware that there is a connection to the things that we do and the outcomes for other people and ourselves and the people around us. But don't let that stop you, right? Don't let that stop you from acting and from doing things. When we are coming from a place of kindness, a place of ahimsa, when that is our guiding principle, then the outcomes um, will be what they are, right? There'll be some good and some maybe not so good, but they will be in line with what we want to have happen. So fold or point and flex. And rotate the ankles. I'm doing this kind of fast. You don't have to do this fast. You might want to do this very slow. It's up to you. Bend that right knee, and we're going to hug it in, sitting up tall, shoulders back, and then lowering. Take a deep breath, lean forward, hinging from the hips, right? So we're coming forward with the body, and then just lowering down. Back up. Sitting tall. And lowering that knee. Take a deep breath. Fold forward. Back up, both legs out in front. Take a deep breath and fold. And we're back up, bend the knees. Lowering down. Relax here for a few breaths. We're going to bring right ankle on top of left knee. Doing whatever version of this is right for you. So either keeping that left leg on the ground, pushing the right knee away, or the left leg comes in. Both poses, both versions of the pose, I should say, are working in the same area, just in different intensities, let's say. So we want to find the same, right, level of intensity. So the intensity should be tolerable, right? We don't want to be in pain. We don't want to be on the edge of disaster. We want to be a little beyond comfortable. We want to feel some stretch, feel some effort happening, but we want it to be sustainable. I want you to think that you could hold this for quite a bit and nothing terrible would happen, right? For each of us, that's a different place. And even on a given day, it could be a completely different place than it was yesterday or the day before. So that's why everyone's poses will look so different. Let's switch it, right? Depending on where you are in terms of flexibility, in terms of strength, in terms of injury, right? Or recovery from injury. We all will be in different places at different times, but we're all seeking that same level of, medium, let's say medium intensity. Um, and then set both feet back down to the ground. Let's bump the knees together, walk the feet to the outer edges of the mat, and just rest here for a few breaths. Getting ready for bridge. Let's do a regular bridge, and then we'll do a supported bridge. So heels back, close to the body, hands by your side, pressing down, hands and feet lifting up the body, maybe interlacing the fingers underneath if you want. And then resting back down. I almost was ready to forget supported bridge, but hopefully you didn't forget. Lifting up again. Finding a good place for the block. And breathe. Lifting back up. Resting on the mat, soles of the feet together. Relax and breathe. And then knees back to center. Let's hug them in. We can rotate a little. Hands on your kneecaps and rotating. One direction and then reversing it. And then hands out to a T or goalpost arms. We'll start lowering both knees to the right. Back to center, moving left. And back. Hands by your side, extend the legs. And then lowering down. Relax and breathe. And finding a good place for Shavasana. Focus on the breath, sensations in the body. I'm sure we have all experienced things in our life that have changed our life um, pretty profoundly and um, maybe almost instantly, right? Things like, a lot of times it seems like things, like loss. So, like when people pass away, maybe we lose a job, we move from one place to another. There are things that we do that can change the entire course of our life. Um, it may be things that happen to us, right? We've noticed that these things have the ability to change our life, but we can do those things for ourselves as well, right? We can decide to just not do this thing anymore that we've been doing that we don't like, or bring in this new habit. Um, it's amazing the ability that we have to do things differently if we choose. I think a lot of times we get stuck in our habits and we have a lot of reasons why we can't change, we can't do different things. But those are really, that's all they are. They're just reasons. Um, we all know people who have profoundly changed their life by choice. Um, we can do that too if we want. Don't let your inertia or lack of confidence hold you back. If you want to change, do it. If you don't get all the way the first time, keep going. Um, keep trying. Yoga is a practice, right? We stress this so much that it's a practice. It's not an end. There's no end. There's never any end. We keep practicing. We keep getting more skilled, more um, self-aware, more aware of um, the one, the self. We hear that voice more strongly. We follow more closely. But at first, it can be very hard. We stumble a lot along the way. We make mistakes. We misinterpret what we think we've heard. We're getting stuck up here, with our thoughts and our desires, and um, but we keep going. You don't do it perfectly the first time. It's like riding a bike, right? You don't just ride a bike. You fall down quite a few times, right? You skin your knee. You maybe you dent some of the bike, um, but you get better. And as you learn the skills that you need to keep that bike up, um, those skills stay with you. You will be able to use them and draw on them throughout your life. Um, I like to use the bike analogy because it's one of those things um, that truly that doesn't leave us, um, and we have that capacity. There are many things like that, but the bike is maybe one of the most visible ones. And if you've never learned to ride a bike, I'm very sorry, but you should because it's a fun skill, and again, it takes a little time, but um, I also know that the older you are with many of these skills, the older you are, the quicker you learn them, the more patience you have with the process. When we're a kid, we want everything instantaneously. Hopefully, when we get to be a grown up, we have a little more patience with the process. Moving fingers and toes, hands and feet. And when you're ready, Making your way up to a seat. Let's bring hands together, sitting up tall, breath in and breath out. Thank you for taking time today for yoga and for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you have a lovely Tuesday. Namaste. Okay. Meditation. Let's do some few moments. So finding that comfortable seat, keeping that peaceful frame of mind, steady focus, and breathe. Okay, we're back. Breath in, breath out. That seemed like a long 5 minutes to me, but hopefully it sped by for you. Okay, so Tuesday, we're done. I'll be back tomorrow, and enjoy your day.